And welcome back to your noon news. As promised, we do have a special guest with us here at midday. It's Jim Bauer with Bauer Trading. And Jim, let's just dive right into it because this ongoing drought in the Midwest and roughly 2/3 of America these days is very serious. You actually call the Midwest your home, and it's as serious as everybody's been telling us.
Yes, Russell, this is the worst drought that I have ever seen in my basically 40-year career. We have corn yields on $10,000 an acre land that I think will probably make maybe not more than 30 bushel per acre. There will be some zeros. Certainly the situation is the worst that I've seen. Now, as you kind of progress north and westward, it's not quite as bad, but if this drought continues, this drought, in my opinion, has the potential to be the worst in history in the Midwest.
You know, you and I were visiting before we started this segment that when we talk about corn, it's one of those commodities that really does affect everything.
Absolutely. Whether you're a feedlot operator, cow-calf operator, or the housewife, everything that we have as far as grain production has some direct influence on overall food prices. I think something like 75% of the items that we consume has some form of corn or soybeans in them. So it does have a dramatic effect, but certainly I'm looking for at least 3 to 4% increase in food prices. And if the drought doesn't abate by, say, late September, it could be even much worse than that.
So as we look at the demise of the nation's corn crop, but we turn it back into what it's doing to wheat, what is your crystal ball showing there?
Well, wheat is an international market, and you've got to be careful about trying to analyze wheat too microscopically. You've got to broaden it out. But we know that wheat has been following corn to a certain degree. I think that will continue, but wheat will eventually, I think, kind of divorce itself. I know there's going to be a lot of wheat planted in the Midwest this fall. Certainly, the market's trying to get them to do that, so then they'll follow that in with second crop soybeans behind that, because a lot of producers simply aren't going to have any cash flow next spring to pay for input costs, so they're almost forced to plant more wheat followed by soybeans.
And finally, in the time remaining, let's talk about corn's impact on the cattle markets. Cattlemen have to know the corn market.
Yes, you and I have talked about that on this program. You know, normally we get a great crop in the Midwest. There's really no issue, no problem. But with what has happened, obviously we've seen almost a 2,500 point break off the top. It pretty much says straight out, if you're a cattle operator, producer, feedlot operator, you absolutely must need to know the structure and price movement of corn, because if you don't, obviously this year's an example where it could really hurt you. So pay attention to corn prices.
All right, as always, some awesome advice.
Thank you, Russell.
All right, stay with us, friends. We'll have those ag markets right after this.